Hey Canada, I'm Megan from EB Games. Today we'll be discussing Rage 2, Bethesda's newest game releasing on May 14th on PS4 and Xbox One. Let's get to it! Joining me here today is Ed from Bethesda, who is the business director of Rage 2. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
So let's start off with a more basic question for those who don't already know anything about Rage 2. So what is Rage 2 at its core?
To best explain what Rage 2 is and what it is at its core, you have to understand the partnership of the two studios that worked on it, right? From Bethesda, we have id Software, and they've invented first-person shooters, right? That goes back decades to Doom and Wolfenstein and Quake. And so fans of, like, say, Doom 2016 is going to see many of the things that they really enjoyed from a first-person shooter mechanic in Rage 2. But we couldn't do it without the help of Avalanche Studios. Those guys brought a fantastic open world tech to the experience, and the melding of those two studios, that partnership, is what really Rage 2 is all about.
Awesome. So the box art of the game, it seems to be very bright and colorful, especially with the pinks.
Sure.
Can we expect that same sort of vibrant feel in the artwork and graphics of the game itself?
Yeah, absolutely. So certainly we amp it up to 11 in the marketing, for sure. But one of the things that we kind of joke around the office about Rage 1 is that we used 50 Shades of Brown. So we wanted to bring this, what we like to call the post-apocalyptic world. So what would it look like if a horrible event has happened, right? Which is in Rage 1, a meteor crashes into Earth, wipes out humanity, right? What happens if there's enough time for flora and fauna to come back? So one of the big goals that we set out for Rage 2 was to create a world that felt alive and had different places like swamps and jungles, and not just the sort of deserty, intense grittiness of most post-apocalyptic games. Now, also, each of the major factions you're going to fight, say, for example, the Goon Squad, who you encounter very early in the game, they have a very neon aesthetic as well.
Awesome.
So pink mohawks, blue mohawks. You'll see many of the same aesthetics that you see in the marketing and on the box art. You'll see that in the game as well. Not quite as much in your face as you get it in the marketing, but certainly it is definitely represented in the game as well.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Love the sort of punk feel.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is definitely that.
And so Rage 1, how has Rage 2 evolved since then?
Yeah, it's pretty much in every way.
Yeah.
It's bigger, it's badder, and certainly it's better. And not only from the in-game mechanics, what we wanted to do, combat is definitely deeper. We have these really cool abilities you can use. We have a whole new arsenal of crazy weapons, but also the tech itself. And that's all Avalanche Studios. They brought their Apex engine, which became really popular through Mad Max and the Just Cause series, to create this large, dynamic, loadless open world where you can just kind of go wherever you want, do whatever you want, and blow up anything you want. Yeah, so Rage 2 is all about that, right? We want you to, if you want to do the story, stick to that. That's great, but we really incentivize and really want you to explore the world however you want to explore it. The story is a big part of Rage 2 and does link back to Rage 1. And so those that were fans of Rage 1 will see characters and locations that they remember from the original Rage. But that was 8 years ago, and not everybody's played Rage 1.
Yeah.
So certainly one thing we want to tell people is don't worry if you haven't played. You should go out. You should definitely try it. But if you haven't, don't worry. We're going to catch you up real quick, and you're not going to feel like you're missing out on anything or you don't have an understanding of what's going on. Yeah.
It sounds like a lot of fun.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, and really that's a good point because, and I know this sounds like all video games are fun, of course, but really what we wanted to do was create an experience where hopefully you can turn your brain off and smile ear to ear the whole time. And we really think we've accomplished that. Rage 2 is just a ton of fun. Like, you have a blast when you play it.
Cool. And so what are some interesting gameplay mechanics or features that players will love when they get into it?
Yeah. So I talked a little bit about that relationship of Avalanche Studios and id Software, and it kind of comes back to that, right? id Software, certainly in Quake Champions and in Doom, that released in 2016, reminded everybody, oh, these guys really know first-person shooters and do those mechanics really, really well. They've been innovating in that space for a long time, decades now. So we've amped that up. So you're going to get a combat experience that's what I believe to be very unique, because not only are you going to get a crazy arsenal of wacky weapons, right? Like, you're going to get some stuff that you're used to seeing in other games, like an assault rifle, But you'll get other unique weapons too, like the grav dart launcher, which is a play on a gravity gun where you can like smash people together, launch them off cliffs, and it's a lot of fun. And not only that, but in Rage 2, over Rage 1, we've introduced several combat abilities. There's 4 main ones that you use that allow the player to sort of combo them together. So one of the main ones you have is Barrier, which protects you, has a barrier.
Yep.
One of them is Vortex, that like will suck everybody in and then shoot him up into the air. You have Slam, which you kind of, you jump in the air and then slam down on your enemies. And then finally my favorite, which is Shatter. And people that aren't familiar, as familiar with the powers as I am, Shatter is the equivalent of sort of like a force push. So for the lucky enemies, when you use it, they get knocked back. But generally speaking, they just explode into tiny little bits.
And shatter.
Yeah, they literally shatter. So the cool thing is you can kind of start to combo those powers together, right? Yep. You could throw a barrier down and throw a vortex down and pull enemies through the barrier. Enemies that go through the barrier get diced into tiny little cubes. So there's an incentive to mix the exciting arsenal and all the combat abilities in a way that certainly creates this moment-to-moment combat experience that's unique for each person that plays it, right? Like you get to play your way and set things up, and really the game comes alive when you merge all that stuff together. And layered around that whole thing is the dynamic open world that Avalanche brings to the table. And so one wouldn't be as good without the other, and Avalanche has brought that best-in-class open world experience that they brought to the Just Cause series and Mad Max, and it's a lot of fun.
It sounds like it. So going to pre-order bonuses for Rage, what are some of the things that people can get if they pre-order the game?
Well, we can't be at EB Games without talking about the EB Games exclusive. So for those that pre-order the game at EB Games, will have the ability to get yourselves one of these Rage 2 wing sticks. Now, just to explain real quick what a wing stick is, for those that are unfamiliar with Rage 1, we are bringing back the wing stick, which is essentially a bladed boomerang of death. And in Rage 2, we're going to let you upgrade it a little. So you're going to be able to do like multi-targeting. It's going to stick in some people and explode, and you like throw it around corners. So we love this. It's a personal favorite around the office, and certainly in game, it's one of our favorite aspects of Rage 2. So we're really excited that you guys have that at EB Games.
I am too.
Yeah.
And of course, it doesn't explode. The real one
No.
is just foam.
Yeah. Don't worry. Very safe. Very safe.
Yeah.
We definitely don't throw it at each other at the office. No, we do it all the time. The other thing is, no matter what edition you pre-order, you're going to get some digital goodies, so to speak. And I actually think it's pretty cool. So, harkening back to the original Rage, the main character in the first Rage is Nicholas Rain, who is also a ranger like you are in this next game. So when you pre-order, you get access to an exclusive mission called Cult of the Death God. And so for those that pre-order, when they get in, they can play this mission, and you get to face off against a cult that has sort of turned Nicholas Rain into a god. And so you kill all these mutants, and you get to do battle with a unique enemy that only appears in that mission. And then beating the mission gets you a unique weapon, the Settler pistol, and unique armor, and it's Nicholas Rain's armor. So the way you kind of get the pre-order bonuses is you experience the content in game, and it's a reward for completing the experience. And then also, as kind of a little sprinkle on top, you get the mutant monster truck skin, and it's just awesome. I mean, it's a monster truck. You get to sort of run people over, and now you get to do it in style.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So there's also some pre-order bonuses with the deluxe edition as well, correct?
Yeah. So the deluxe edition content is awesome, right? We're offering a lot. So for those that buy the deluxe edition or collectors, first and foremost, they're going to get access to the first DLC, the first expansion, which is Rise of the Ghosts. We haven't released too much information about that yet. We're going to have more information at E3, but those that do get it will get it as part of the release. They'll get it added to their account. And then also, fans of id Software definitely know the BFG 9000. It's the giant gun from the Doom series that has become iconic when they talk about Doom. And so our friends over on the Doom team were nice enough to get us the OG assets from the original Doom.
Oh, that's so cool.
Avalanche Studios and id worked together to create kind of their spin on that OG BFG 9000. Man, there's so much. And then another thing is, and this is so Rise of the Ghost is awesome. BFG 9000 is awesome. But my personal favorite is the Wasteland Wizard Codes. So not just Deluxe Edition. Everybody's going to be able to earn them in game, but our deluxe edition purchasers will get it right out of the gate. We love 90s games in the office, and we were sitting around thinking about what is something cool and dynamic we could do in Rage 2, and cheat codes came up, like old school cheat codes. And we've started talking about what those are, and the first one we announced is He's on Fire mode. And He's on Fire mode is a throwback to NBA Jam.
Yep.
So we actually reached out to Tim Kitzrow, who is the original announcer from NBA Jam in the 90s. He's still doing his thing. Yeah, so he recorded over 200 lines of VO, and so you'll be able to turn this cheat code on and hear Tim serenade you through the combat of Rage 2.
Just making the crowd go. Fly like an eagle. Bam! Tang, tang, boomerang. There it is.
And there's even more digital goodies in there.
Yep.
I recommend everybody just kind of go in there and check it out on the EB Games product page.
Cool.
Yeah.
So now all that content is in the collector's edition as well.
Yep.
So other content that's in the collector's edition is this
yeah,
wall plaque here.
This beautiful man in front of me is Ruckus. Yeah. So again, I guess we're kind of going with the 90s theme, but harkening back to the very popular, I think it was Billy Bass, which was the hanging, talking, singing bass on your wall.
Yep.
I have no idea why that took off, but we thought it was quirky and weird, so we worked with Andrew WK, and he is the voice here of Ruckus, and you can hang him on your wall or put him on your bookshelf. And the collector's edition also comes with a really cool steelbook. I talked earlier about the Goon Squad.
Yeah.
And they do a lot of like tagging on the walls, and so it's themed in Goon Squad. You see like all their graffiti art, and then also there'll be a poster there too that you can hang on your wall.
Fantastic. So do we have some batteries in him?
We do have some batteries
All
in
right.
them.
Do you want to turn them on?
Yeah, we can turn them on.
Let's see what he does.
Yeah. I like it. By the way, that happens every time you turn them on. He always just says hi. Yeah. So sometimes it's just like, yeah. So when you we'll see if we can get him to start talking. But once he does, he rarely shuts up, which is great. But the idea is like there's a sensor in here, and so when you walk in front of him, so that's so I'll sing for you.
Oh.
And that's he's gonna keep talking.
Just
so
keep going.
Yeah. But that's Andrew WK. Those that are familiar with the rock star, the legend himself. He performed at our E3 last year and has been a part of the sort of the creative vision early on Rage 2, and was nice enough to record some lines for the collector's edition.
That's great.
Yeah.
And I love the detail on the actual plaque itself with the spray paint and everything, like bringing in from the game as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
It looks great.
And you're going to be able to fight giant mutants just like Ruckus in the game as well.
So what does the endgame content look like for Rage 2?
We're not doing a season's pass. We're big about choosing the sort of experiences you want to pay for.
Yeah.
Rise of the Ghost, which I mentioned is in the deluxe edition, will be a paid expansion DLC content that will add new story content and a bunch of new experiences in the game itself. Once you end the game, you will still have access to all of Rage 2. And really the best parts of Rage is when you're driving around and just wreaking havoc on the bad guys throughout the world. But one of the things we really wanted to do was support the title post-launch. So lots of free changes to the experience that you're going to be able to get if you're connected and playing Rage 2 online. We're going to do a lot of things that we're calling dynamic events, where we're going to change the world around you and the experience so that Rage 2 feels fresh every time you come back to it each week. And we'll do that all throughout 2019 and into 2020. We really want Rage 2 to feel like a living, breathing world, and we're going to support it that way.
Pre-order Rage 2 in-store or online at ebgames.ca to receive a Rage 2 wing stick, exclusively at EB Games.